morning, SITREP.
Holy loud.
Thank you.
Wow.
How are you all today? We've got a show for you, and we have a stranger in the house.
Don't
we
call Jim that. We like him.
Oh, come on now.
You are far stranger than Jim. Let's be real.
Okay. All right. You
So-
got me on that one.
Yeah, so we have Jim from a secret remote location across the country.
I'm on a black site.
Yeah.
I've finally been deployed.
And then we have the man living in the cave.
Mhm.
who,
Yeah.
out of nowhere, we almost voted him off the island, but he's back. Just
I
in
don't think
time.
all the voting members have full voting rights in this case,
There's
so
There's
I
only
would have
two,
contested it.
and you're not one of them.
I'm just saying.
So anyway, we've got an action-packed show for you today. Actually, we have news back. Finally, the news guy showed up. You know.
The news happens whether I'm here or not. You could have said something. And you did bring it up. I do listen to the show. You did mention some stuff. You just didn't do a news segment.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about scale. And when I mean by scale, it's not necessarily the size of the miniature, but the scale of the game, the scale of the world, the scale of the universe, etc., etc., etc. What scale is good or best for tabletop gaming? And we're going to do that in 3, 2, 1.
Big Duke 6 Eagle Thrust. Put on side Warhawk. Sing it loud. And the Romeo Foxtrot. Shall we dance?
You are listening to the SITREP Podcast, your source for everything related to historical wargaming. Whether you are looking for the latest wargaming news, reviews, painting tutorials, or playthroughs, you will hear about it right here. So grab your favorite beverage or brush and let's hit it.
Okay, we're back. Hey, it worked like it's supposed to. Yeah, amazing.
We'll take the win.
Right. So, Marty, where the hell have you been? Because I've had people literally messaging me going, "Is Marty okay?"
Tough
Mar-
and work.
Marty has a very busy. So, to not put too fine a point on it and get in the weeds, I do law enforcement training, and as it turns out, particularly in the summer, right before the big seasons start for festivals and whatnot, as well as the Chicagoland area has the DNC this year, where I'm located. There's a ton of law enforcement training going on. My day job is I evaluate, inspect, act as a safety officer for law enforcement training, basically in Cook and the Collier counties on behalf of the state of Illinois. So super busy there. However, last show I missed it because we do a mission trip through an organization called the Appalachia Service Project every year, and I went down to Kentucky to help rebuild and repair people's homes that need assistance down there. So I was literally on the road on the way back from that during the last show. So that is my attempt at an excused absence.
We're gonna need a note. We're gonna need a note from your teacher. Okay.
I'll be sure to write that up immediately, just like I did when I was in school.
We'll read it out loud on the next show.
Yeah. Well, I guess.
Yeah.
You were TAD, if they still call it that.
Yeah.
Or if I'm giving away my 90s.
Yeah. You know.
It's on TDY. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
temporary
Army
peace
we call it TDY.
Yep. Same
Hey.
thing.
We were TAD, temporary additional duty.
Oh, there you go.
Well, I guess we'll give you an excuse since you're doing humanitarian things.
Yeah. Trying to make the world a better place, sir.
All right. Well, let's get on to making this a better place. What have you been up to, Jim?
Yes. What have we been up to? We've had a very, very busy summer because we do a lot of 80th anniversaries as we continue to march through World War II. And spoiler alert, the summer of 44 was a bit of a busy season. I think we talked once about is wargaming seasonal. And if you're on any kind of anniversary schedule, then hell yeah. So April, we did Kohima Imphal, and because that's April of 44. We tried to do stuff besides the usual, like everyone's going to do Normandy, because of course they are. We did a little bit of Normandy. In fact, we had 2 pieces of Normandy content. But then in May, we did Anzio and Monte Cassino, and then going forward into into June, yeah, we did, as viewers have probably seen, we did a big live stream. It was supposed to be like a hour-long live stream. Turned out to be 3 hours, because of course it did. Of all of Normandy, all 5 invasion beaches, Point du Hoc, Merivale Battery, so everything between Merivale Battery and Point du Hoc for people who are familiar. That's like 120 miles. I've driven the road, so I know. Actually, Cherbourg's going to be even further than that. But anyway, we did all that at the at Dawes Creek House, home of South Florida Miniatures Gaming Club. And then we did Sword Beach as well, some of the fighting behind Sword Beach. And then we switched over to the Pacific, because one of the battles that always gets overlooked, because everyone's always going on about Normandy, Saving Private Ryan, Herp, is Saipan, the other D-Day that was going on at virtually the exact same time. In fact, the almost to the hour when the C-47s were taken off with 101st and 82nd, U.S. 5th Fleet and Task Force 51 was actually setting sail to invade Saipan, which finally kicked off on 15 June 1944. So we had a big Saipan battle. We played that on the actual anniversary of 15 June. Part 1's already up on our channel. Part 2 goes up hopefully later tonight.
Yeah,
Very
that's
nice.
awesome. Yeah. You know, the Marines had to get some love.
We didn't get much at Saipan.
Yeah.
I say we like I was there. They didn't get much love at Saipan. Trust me.
You're part of the Corps, bud. You're part of the Corps.
The Japanese were they didn't have the best welcoming. They got a very bad Yelp review. Let's just put it that way.
2 out of 10 would not recommend.
Yeah.
Marty, what you been up to?
Well, as I said, I've been pretty busy, so I haven't got a ton of stuff done. But I've done some critical things around the Hawk here. Like I cleaned it up so I can actually operate and move around and put things places. I primed and Zenithal primed, I don't know, 150 Age of Sigmar, mostly Skaven dudes, not the new ones, although I do have them coming. And then I started painting. Let's see, I don't know. I got like 30 little Skaven dudes here. I finished up which one is this? This is the. Oh God, I can't remember which set it is. They have so many. Enemy Spotted Studios in Country dudes. I think this is the African militia guys. Except these are the dudes that they're all metal. These are all metal miniatures. And they're the dudes that you have to like glue the weapons on. They have like the hands attached to the weapons and you have to glue it onto their arms. Yeah, I dropped one of them. I have no idea where his weapon went. So the good news is out of the bits box, I don't know if you can see that.
Yep.
Yeah. Out of the bits box comes a new gun. but now I have to paint that. So
I actually prefer that when the weapon is attached to the arm and you have to attach the arm with the shoulder. I just got done building some Warlord 28 millimeter U.S. infantry, and this way you can avoid at least that floating gun syndrome because the rifle never quite fits in the forward hand.
Yeah.
So it looks like he just fired it and kind of like lost control of his weapon a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and that's like these don't have the arms attached to them. It's just the gun and the hands themselves.
Oh,
so
okay.
Then you got to attach the hand to the wrist.
You got to attach them at the wrist, right?
Yeah. So, a lot of green stuff, and not gonna lie. And
That's what it's for.
And it's super hard. Like if you need to pin something, it's super hard to pin those tiny little connections. So
yeah.
Hence, gun gone.
Pinning wrists at 28 millimeter. God damn, that's
right.
The only time I've ever had to pin anything is with BattleTech, and that's at 1:300 or 1:286. But even then, because it's a vehicle,
it's 3 inches tall. Yeah,
even that was a pain.
Those are big chunky dudes. You got some meat to work with. I got nothing on this, which is why I'm just trying to super glue the hell out of them. And apparently that was not effective.
Yeah.
That's mostly what I've been doing as far as hobby stuff.
Cool.
I am waiting patiently for my CMON Comics Volume 2 to arrive. Me and Chris and some other guys here locally put in an order together to save on shipping. So we ordered like 10 books through one dude, and I think it's arriving today.
Okay.
Fun.
So, which is nice because he lives across town from me, so I can just swing by that guy's house and pick up mine and Chris's copy.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike you, because I think you've got yours, I think you mentioned that. I am still waiting for my my battle space set from Modifius.
Yep, got mine. Yep.
No word, no nothing. I've had no
Hey,
communication from them. I'm like, where's my stuff?
I'll be honest with you, you're not missing out much. They've refined the book. It's very well published. You know, they polished it. If you already have the cards and the old rule set, you're not missing out other than just having it polished. That's all they've done.
I was really hoping it would be more of a, because originally they said deluxe box set, right?
Right. Yes.
That doesn't sound deluxe.
There's nothing deluxe about it, to be honest with you. It came in, I think it just came in a mailer, and it's literally a soft cover rule book shoved in with the cards, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I'm really looking forward to on that is just getting decent cards, because like I printed mine out and I laminated them, but it looks like I printed them out and laminated them. You know, it's not a professional type of deal.
I'm not slighting Modifius or Robert at all. When they first announced that they were going to come out, you know, Modifius is going to publish it, I seriously thought we were getting a 2-player starter set, and I was on that gravy train. You know,
it's not really a 2-player game, but
well, you know what I mean. A starter set.
So good guys and bad guys.
Okay, let me rephrase that. 2 army starter set.
Yeah. You know, but because you know that would have been cool. You know, you only need 4 dudes for the good guys.
Yeah.
4. That's your base unit for good guys. Yeah. Bad guys, particularly if you roll the way I do, you might need more. Like I've had as many as 25 on the table at one time, because it turns out sometimes my dice suck, and then dudes just keep coming out of everywhere. You know, but you know, having you know, a small cadre of those guys to get you started, maybe like a basic vehicle, whether that's a Humvee or a technical or, you know, something like that. Some basic terrain, like little cardboard buildings or whatever. You know, a paper mat. You know, that would have been cool.
Here's what you get. This is it. So you get the rule book. Can you switch to camera 2 or 3? So you get this rule book. So, like I said, they polished it up. I mean, they've done a really nice job. I mean, Modifius rules.
Does look very nice.
Yep. And if you'd hold that for a second. Oh, I didn't clear out the thing, but that's all right. And then you get a quick sheet for your character cards and some, you know, if you want to cut out paper tokens, there you go.
Are they? You literally have to cut those out? You do. They're not.
Yeah.
You don't have punch tokens?
Or anything. No.
And then here's your cards that they are die cut. So, you know, I think we need to trademark that.
I know.
I think a cease and desist letter needs to go out. SITREP.
The SITREP cards on there.
Yeah. So you got, I mean, the enemy act AI cards, you know, so you get die cut cards, you get the soldier cards, you know, and I can't remember.
I thought those were, I didn't realize that they were going to be die cut on the sheet. I thought that they were going to be press cut in a deck already.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how much I think, was it $35?
It was not terribly expensive.
It was not terribly.
I don't remember.
So I don't feel like I got ripped. Let's put it that way.
I was just hoping for something better, because I like Robert. I like the game a lot, as you guys know. It's one of the few games I actually play on a semi-regular basis, because it's a solo game, and you put your dudes down and you're pretty much in action fairly soon. I mean, there might be a turn of movement before you start engagement, depending on what scenario it is and how big of a space you're using. But you're engaged pretty quickly. Plus, you have all of the games are objective based. You have to do something. You're not just moving across the board or trying to kill the bad guys. You know, you actually have a goal and an objective that you have to complete. So, you know, you're mission focused, and then you're trying to stay alive while you do it.
Yep.
Well, that's almost a requirement for a solitaire game. I mean,
Right.
solitaire game where it's like kill the enemy. Okay, well, the enemy walks out in front of you and puts their hands up, and you mow them down. So
Yeah, right. Except, you know, like I said, I have this thing where I don't roll dice real well necessarily, so more and more just keep showing up. Like the second game. Yeah, it was like the second game that I ever played. I actually lost 2 of my 4 guys. So, so I changed the mission. Instead of the objective, you had to like go find a bomb maker or something like that. Instead of that, my mission was now I had to move my 2 dudes, take my 2 casualties with me off the edge of the board to exfil. And that was a challenge for me because I was in the middle of the board when those guys got whacked. So, and more and more dudes kept showing up.
it sounds a lot like some of our Force on Force games, especially a Black Hawk Down, where you had one objective, then you have casualties. Now your objective is to get those casualties, like the crashed helicopters, build a new perimeter around that Black Hawk crash site, get those guys out of there, and you know that's your new mission. Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I kind of, you know, what would we do in real life? How would we actually handle this mission? I'm like, well, you know, considering there's only 4 of us, we're probably not going to continue after the bomb maker. We're going to try an exfil, you know, because we're no longer truly combat effective, and we want to bring our casualties with us.
Right.
So, and then, you know, of course, because it's 2 dudes taking 2 dudes, and my guys were on foot, they weren't in a vehicle. You know, my movement rate was reduced.
This all sounds very familiar. In Force on Force, you're usually in a 4-man fire team, and the second you take your first actual either a serious wound or a KIA, God forbid, okay, now you have to get that casualty. You have to case evac. You have to get that guy out of there, and that takes a guy. So 1 guy down really means 2 guys down because now 1 guy's in a fireman carry. He's heading back to wherever your case evac area is. So. Yeah, with 2 guys down, now you need 2 guys. You're at 0%. You're done for the mission.
Yeah. So you know they're working degraded to degraded movement as well as degraded accuracy because they're moving dudes. That's their focus. Fortunately, you know these guys are all like tier 1 operators, so they're still pretty good. But yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, so Force on Force, if you're really tier 1, you're rolling d12s, and then for every, they call them dependent. It can be like a civilian you're trying to evacuate, a casualty, a POW, somebody in your group that is not combat effective. So 2 casualties, let's say. That's going to be 1 reduction from your class. So you go from d12 to d10 to d8s. Yep. But most insurgents are still d6s, so you're nowhere near as effective as you used to be, but you can still fight insurgents at least a little. Yeah, with a little bit of an advantage with a D8 because you're going to roll better with a D8 than you will with a D6.
Sure. Unless you're Marty.
Yeah, oh, that's true. Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah.
Although if you watch that Black Hawk Down video, I'm rolling D12s for Lieutenant Colonel McKnight. Whoa. I mean, he's Lieutenant Colonel. He's going to be badass against D6s, and I'm losing. I'm like, how do you lose with a D6 or with a D12 against a D6? A Risky Jim will show you the way.
Yeah, that'll happen. I don't know.
Easy.
But all right, so Dawn.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Well, this week not a whole lot besides work. But the week before we had our grandson Joe here with us for the week, and it was all gaming all the time. Mm-hmm. And now, granted, we didn't do any miniatures gaming, which I thought we were going to do.
Oh no, we did.
We did.
Well, you didn't.
Oh yeah. You can talk about that in a minute. Yeah. So we played a ton of Magic. We played a bunch of Lorcana. I did pick up there is a 2-player cooperative fight against Ursula set that they just dropped. It's like it's still Lorcana, but it's you play against an AI deck. And so this is one of those things where you can in theory play solo, but I'll tell you what, she will kick your ass. the decks that game comes with, it was rough. So there's like, I see what they did with it. It was a really smart creation because it is absolutely to your benefit to make your own decks to bring into it once you get a feel for the way her AI works. But that was a lot of fun. We played Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle a couple of times. We played Pandemic. We played a bunch of Splendor. We've been on a Splendor kick. We like to play that with Bill too. So
I hear Pandemic is very difficult. Like it's very rare that you actually beat the game.
It 100% is. Like I don't even know how many times we played it, but we won like once.
There's a better version of Pandemic out there.
It's a really good
It's
version.
a better version. Pandemic Rome.
You have to have you have to have a bunch of people to play it.
Yeah, I know, but
not
it's
fun for
much.
2 people.
I
so-
find it much more enjoyable than the regular edition of Pandemic. In Pandemic Rome, you are literally, the different empires, and
it's not about disease; it's about armies. Like so,
it's about the Mongol
scale.
invasion and all that, and I like it. It's a much if you're historically based. Pandemic Rome is a great game.
It is a cool game. It is a cool
Well, the Romans went through plenty of pandemics, or like they don't really know what it was because the records weren't great. They didn't have doctors giving correct diagnoses or anything. So we don't know if it was like bubonic plague or smallpox or whatever, but they went through some hella plagues, especially once Rome got to be the size it did. The city.
So, yeah.
Be like, oh, you got ghosts in your blood.
All right, my turn. So Joe and I actually did historical wargaming. And I mean historical wargaming.
The longest game ever.
A game that was supposed to take roughly maybe an hour took us 4 or 5 hours.
It was the whole day.
Oh, you're 4 or 5 hours. You're just getting started.
That sounds like me and Chris trying to figure out turn 1 of any game.
Turns on the game though, and this game shouldn't have taken that long.
No, because we were playing a rule wrong, so it made it less long. But anyways, if you could cut to camera 3, just hit cut. So we played this.
Nice.
So this is the newest version of Onus that came out through Kickstarter. I literally just got it a couple weeks ago. And it is, as you can see, they're cards, but they're actually miniatures. So it's like a stand of miniatures. And you play it on a battlefield. And we did the scenario, I played the Romans, and Joe played the Germanic tribes. So, the forest, I can't remember the name of the battle where the Romans were marching through the valley.
Teutoburg.
Yes, thank you. We did
9
that.
AD. Yeah, 9 AD, Teutoburg Forest.
Yes. And we just went to town whopping on each other. And we went, well, we'll play 1,000 points. It'll be a small game because he doesn't know how to play, and I haven't played in forever and a day. And it's like, it'll take us about an hour. Yeah, no.
I can tell you, being a bystander in another room and listening to the conversations, it was hilarious.
Well, battle lasts 3 days historically.
I was gonna say you almost lasted as long as the historical battle.
But for those people who have limited space for gaming, this is an excellent alternative. Because right here I have. Well, this is just one of the boxes, but there's armies in here. It's a deck of cards, but once you put it on the table, it didn't feel like cards. It almost
it looked really cool. It looked like a full-on battlefield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you play it just like you could literally transform the cards into just stands of minis. So there's a company called WoFun that's going to be getting a lot of my business.
I knew that was going to get up.
They've already gotten some of your business.
Yes, they have. And they're getting a whole bunch more.
So if you were playing the Romans, how did you do?
Well, I actually won.
I was going to say, because the Germans or the Romans lose that battle hard.
Yeah,
they got shellacked.
That's one of the worst defeats in Roman history. That's the battle that drove Emperor Augustus insane.
Yeah,
he spent the rest of his life with like a mourning beard, staggering in his night robe through the palace, tearing his hair out. Quintus Verus, give me back my legions.
Yeah. Me too.
The 3 legions that were lost in that battle, they struck their numbers from the record. They actually retired them. There was never a 17th, 18th, and 19th legion again in the Roman army after that. That was a bad weekend for the Roman Empire.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I played against a 12-year-old. So, however,
frankly,
So
However-
even okay.
however, hold on a minute though.
Yeah.
This 12-year-old knows how to play games.
he does.
Okay.
Yeah, that mind is sharp.
I
And
was gonna say Joey's not your average 12-year-old gamer guy though.
he
I was
messaged
gonna say,
me.
the German commander in that battle, Arminius, I think his name was actually really good. He was a Roman ally, and then he's like, I got to go in the woods to take a leak, and he heads off into the woods, and then he's got 80,000 guys in there, and he's like, all right, guys, get ready, now we're gonna hit them.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, poor Quintus Varus is just walking through the woods, doop 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 doop, we're fine, everything's great. Columns stretched like 20 miles long, like 50,000 camp followers. Do the math. I mean,
And that's what the battlefield looked like because you guys played by a defined point amount,
Yeah.
and your numbers were very minimum compared to Joe's side of the
Well, you got to
board.
remember, my units are higher point
Yeah.
cost because they're higher level of train.
Yeah.
They're
But
more
when you
skilled
look
troops.
when you look at just numbers of warriors, soldiers,
Yeah.
troops on the battlefield, he outnumbered me like 3-1.
Yeah,
So-
it was impressive.
And it literally, because we were playing the one rule wrong in combat, I think that's how I was able to win, because we were doing this and you're supposed to just continuously whack at each other, and it was like more of a you go, I go, and that's not how the rule is. So, and because I had higher quality troops, I was able to survive his attacks better than me attacking him.
Mhm.
So, but it's a great game. If you guys have not tried it, Onus is a great game. It's not made by Draco Ideas. Draco Ideas is the company that publishes this game. There is another company out there that has a fantasy version. So if you're one of those people that like fantasy version versus historical, there is a fantasy version, with elves and dwarves and all that. So, if you want to get a game on the tabletop and you don't want to paint 1,000 rats, and stuff like that, you can go that way. So again, if you're limited space, you just get a couple of these, put them on your shelf, and you've got a full-on battle, and you can do big O's, rank and file battles.
We played Dark Tower too.
When we played Dark Tower, classic game.
yeah, fantasy is just ancients with better special effects. So
Right?
Yep.
a lot
Sounds like
a lot of the mechanics are actually very similar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sounds like
So-
that would be a good game for me to put in the camper.
There
It
you
is,
go.
and you can play this by yourself, Marty. There's an AI component to it as
Oh,
well.
even better.
I don't know if that would fit on a camper table though.
Nah,
It took
you
up-
could play it smaller
It took
scale,
up the
but
whole kitchen table.
you can play it smaller scale if you wanted to.
I've also got
Um,
a large folding table, so
There
Yeah,
you go.
It,
Okay.
it is.
I
fun
can make
game.
my table bigger, or
And it's
scale it
and
up.
this version is a definite upgrade from the first
Yeah.
edition, because the first edition came in a little box about yay big, So it's a much nicer edition this time. Other than that, should we do some news? I don't know.
I
Do
was
we
gonna say,
do-
how much news is there? We should almost do the topic first because I gotta
Okay.
take off pretty soon.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's do topic first, and then we'll follow up with the news.
If the audience is okay with that.
Of course. Well, we run the show. We can do whatever we
Well,
want.
I was gonna
There
say
you
now we're asking them.
Since when have we ever got their input?
We're trying to
Sorry,
grow the
Pete.
community. We're trying to
You're-
help out.
You're just the victims of our imaginations.
Oh, that joke's been making the rounds.
I was gonna say that's played out and it's
Yeah.
true. So
I was gonna say he won't deny it. It's fine.
Anyway, let's go to the topic, shall we? Our topic for today is where am I going?
What
here?
scale of wargaming
survey
is best?
says
Yes, what scale is perfect for
perfect
wargaming?
wargaming.
Gaming. Okay, so
Now you mentioned that we're not talking about like millimeters as far as scale.
it's all inclusive,
not
all,
just millimeters. Yeah.
Okay.
all in
It's not just millimeters. I got you.
encompassing. Thank you. So it could be the actual scale of the miniature. It could be the scale of the game. It could be the scale of the world. It could be the scale of the universe. Let me start out by how I came up with this topic, because I like micro scale, right? Mini scale, epic scale, whatever you want to call it, scale. Because I just
Tuffy's
286.
Yeah.
I got my new Legion Imperials, the great
6 millimeter.
So I got that. So here we go, 54 millimeter. Oh Lord. Anyways, here's why.
Better be a real
I'm
game.
working on. I have Napoleonics on the table, 28 millimeter from Warlords. Waterloo set. Right. I painted some up on video a while back, and I'm looking at that. And then when I look at the table, and I'm like, this stand of 40 is supposed to represent. Is it a brigade? I can't remember the scale, but it's a very large scale to a small stand.
Yep.
And it's very hard for me to have, say, 10 of these on the board to say that's 50,000 guys or 10,000 guys or whatever, At what point, for me, that's why I like epic scale or small scale, because I can put a massive amount on a stand. And to me, it looks more like what it's representing. You really have to be abstract minded when you're playing in bigger scales, like 54 millimeter. What does one 54 millimeter dude represent? Are you going to have 20 of 54 millimeter guys on a stand? That'd be huge.
I've seen 54 millimeter tables at Historicon. They definitely look impressive, but
Oh,
your
like
battle's going to be very small, like fire team on squad,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
So as it turns out, at Little Wars, there's I can't remember who it is. Is it Five Guys and a Lawyer? One of the gaming clubs brings a 54 millimeter game every year.
Really?
And it's not skirmish.
Oh, wow.
Now it's like 5 tables long.
I was going to say you're playing on a tennis court at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is it's a very impressive setup. But yeah, it's a huge table that ends up being like 24 feet long and 8 feet wide. But it's kind of cool to see. I think like 54 millimeter, let's say we're good, because they got thrown out here by Tough Years. If you're going to do like an arena game where it's just like one-on-one gladiator combat,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, that'd be great. I don't want to do an army game like that though. I mean, obviously, because like Jim said, now you need an aircraft carrier to play it on.
Or it's like super skirmish, like fire team versus a squad, or 4-on-6, something like that. It's going to be very small.
And your painting game has to be really stepped up because you're painting at a larger scale. So
Oh yeah.
It's a different. It's way different than a 6 mil in particular, but even 28 mil
color, put a little dark, shading and
Wash
highlighting.
it.
A lot of
Dry brush.
28 millimeter fans think that smaller scales are tougher. Like, how do you paint at 10 mil? How do you paint at 50 mil? I'm like, bro, how do you paint at 28 mil? Because I've done them all now. I've done 6s, 10s, 15s is my go-to. I do 20s for a lot of moderns and American Revolution, and then people gift me with 28 millimeter. That's what I'm working on this weekend. Actually, is some 28, and I'm like, man, 28. It comes out looking great, but you got a lot of work on a 28 millimeter figure.
So, 28 millimeter. That dude's got 7 colors in his camouflage pattern. You know how many colors that is in 6 mil?
Oh, and 6? Yeah. That's what I'm doing.
One.
Wash.
So-
Yeah.
Or go to 3 mil.
Just
Like
spray
my,
paint that. Just airbrush the whole thing.
3 mil. I mean, why aren't you using hex encounters once you get to 3 mil? I mean,
Because I like 3-dimensional.
Because he likes little stands with 1,000 dudes on them. Just say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so that's what I'm very visual. So 54 millimeter would be, I mean, your idea of a gladiator type game would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Oh, Spartacus in 54 millimeter.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it would. You know what would be also awesome in 54 millimeter? Circus Maximus.
you need a big
All right.
table.
I was going to say a tennis court wouldn't cover that.
Now we're back to aircraft carrier. Yeah.
I was going to say that the 28 mil version is what,
like
30
a
feet long?
14 a 54 millimeter is basically army man size, like the old plastic joints are army man.
Yeah.
So like the 4-horse chariot team would be like literally that, because horses are big. And you got 4 of them plus the chariot.
Something like that.
Our when we played 28 millimeter Circus Maximus, we had the board printed. We took the file, we scanned the file from Avalon Hill's board and printed it up for 28 millimeter. I think it was 16 feet long.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah,
It did look really cool.
yeah. But I really wanted to make it into a 3D, not just a vinyl map, but actual 3D. We just had a problem figuring out how we were going to grid this track. You know,
The issue with 3D Coliseum games like Combat Gladiators or those is that by the time you build the stands, a lot of times people have a hard time reaching into the middle to
Yeah.
actually get to the figure.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
look really cool, but they're not very functional for the game itself.
You have to like build it in pizza slices where you can take a piece out, move your person, you know, something like that. I mean, I've seen people do it, but it's hard.
Yeah, there's another group at Little Wars that brings Circus Maximus, but they do it in 6 mil, but it's all 3D, so they've got the giant Coliseum or whatever.
Oh, at 6 mil, yeah, it's like reaching into a salad bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can reach over. I think it's 6 mil, maybe it's 10 mil, maybe it's a little bigger than that, but reduced size, right? Because the board I think is 12 feet long total, and this dude has put all the spectators in the stand.
That's awesome.
Like 4,000 of them.
That's a lot of paint right there.
Like 4,000. And they're all painted. They're not all the same.
That's
he's not doing it WWE style where they just put like little cardboard cutouts in the seats to make it look like it's full.
Let's address Madman's comment. I prefer 6 mil, typical figures, 9 colors, camo uniforms run 3 to 4, no less work than 28 millimeter. Get real, guys. If that's what you want to do,
hold on. I would like to address this. This is why he's referred to as Madman.
Yeah. I hope you don't think everyone's seeing your
I'm
colors.
I'm not putting that many colors on a little dude. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean,
you, my friend, are dedicated.
Just remember, miniature wargaming, tabletop wargaming in any aspect is subjective to you, right? If you want to do 9 colors and you want to do it on 6 mil and get highly detailed, that's awesome, dude. Rock it. You know, some people, when they get the smaller scales, they're just going to do some quick coloring, some shading, highlighting, whatever, so they can get it on the table and play it.
The point of 6
no right
millimeter is
or wrong answer to it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I could take one of my 3 millimeter tanks and I could sit there and spend hours detailing the crap out of it. But at tabletop, when you're 2-3 feet away,
almost no one's going to see it.
Yeah,
really.
But you see it, so that's my.
I mean,
I'm so there's no right or wrong, and I don't want anybody to take away, that we're sliding anybody's scale or painting or anything. It's all subjective, and we all do for different things. So
I'm just saying he's got a level of dedication that I can't reach down to.
And skill. I mean, to put that many colors on a 6 mil figure is not easy,
right?
No.
Especially if you're playing most 6 mil games, you have to do it 1,500 times.
Yeah. How about 10 to 20 colors on the F4 Phantom?
See,
at 6 mil.
Much like I admit to playing by myself, he's owning his name here.
Well, a 6 mil Phantom is going to be like that. Yeah, you can totally put that many colors on. I mean,
yeah, that's probably not quite so bad, but that's still some.
Yeah.
I think we need to see some of this guy's work because it sounds like he's into it.
There's a link to our Discord in the description of this video. Join the community. Better yet, everyone's heard my spiel 900 times now.
That's like I said, I'm not the one that the other thing with 6 mil, for instance, to go back to that, if you're painting 6 mil dudes, odds are you're painting a boatload of them.
Yeah, like I don't want to say because I don't want to tell anybody like the rules of their game, but especially with infantry kind of games, the point, air quotes, of 6 mil game is scale. You want like 1,000 figures or 10,000 figures,
and again, me personally, I don't have that level of dedication to do that for that many little tiny dudes. It's hard enough for me to get all of them assembled, painted, whatever, get them on the stand with just a basic paint job. I'm very much like I think you are, Bill, where that's probably going to be one color, a wash, maybe a dry brush highlight, maybe a flash of something if I've got I don't know, sergeants or officers or something that I need to distinguish, or I just want to give it a little pop of color. But other than that, I'm not going. I personally am not going to. Oh, I'm gonna paint his cartridge box. I'm gonna paint every strap on this dude. No, not me. It's too much. you get the scale a little bigger, it's less dudes. Then
Yeah.
we'll look at it. But even like so, like I said earlier, so I'm painting Skaven dudes, right? It's a horde army. I've got literally 140 clan rats. They're not getting a primo paint job because there's 100.
Oh, you didn't watch Nin John's video today, then obviously.
I have seen it. However, one, I don't have the new rats, so maybe for those guys. Mine are. I did pre-order it. Not gonna lie. I'm splitting the box with the guy, and I get the rat half. But they're in mass. I don't need. These aren't characters. They're not special dudes. It's guys that are literally designed to run out there and die. They're speed bumps. So
Yeah.
all I want to do is use them as screening and blocking forces, so the guys that can really hurt them have a chance to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, go.
So they're your penal battalions, your Soviet penal battalions.
Yeah, it's my
Go
conscript.
out there and find mines by stomping on the ground, cover your ears.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm not going, football attack on these guys when I do have characters and other higher level troops that those I will put more time and effort into.
I'll be honest with you. I am very jealous of everybody. Know who the Perry brothers are, right?
Yep.
Perry Miniatures. Yeah. If you belong to their Facebook group, when they do their big battle tables, I'm assuming they have people that paint for them, or they spend a lot. I mean, that's their full-time gig is miniatures, right?
Right.
I would love
They
to
have
have
people chained in a dungeon somewhere.
Yeah,
They do all the
probably.
painting.
Michael and Ellen, they have people that work for them that probably paint up, and they're very good painters in of themselves. I mean, they started at Games Workshop, obviously, and then went out on their own. But their battle tables are freaking beautiful. I would just wish, one, I had the time to do it their way, and I had the resources. I mean, I guess if I dedicated every thing I had to that, we could, but that would leave out everything else. But to me, gaming is not only about the game, it's about the presentation. And when I see a mass battle game like Civil War, American Civil War, we'll take and say, I want to see troops, like we did a battlefield tour last year of Fort Donelson. And until you've been on an actual battlefield, Jim, you could probably speak to this from D-Day. Until you've been on the actual battlefield,
D-Day, Saratoga, Fredericksburg, Antietam. Until
you've been there and you can start seeing, if you have the background, you start to understand the mass numbers of human beings that were on those battlefields, running at each other, were shooting across fields and all that, and then trying to transpose that to a game on your table. It's just mind-blowing, to be honest.
You see the scope of everything at 1-to-1 scale.
Yeah.
But no table really does that.
No, but you can
and this gets to like what level of game you play, like not level like bad to good or simple to complex, but like you were saying earlier, like what scale is best. There's also the command level to consider.
Exactly.
And you go to a con or you go to a tournament and you talk to people and they're like, well, we had this discussion before, we did all of Omaha. Like, bitch, no, you didn't. Was your table 75 feet long? It was in 6 mil. Okay. Was your table 50 feet long? No, it wasn't. So I've sat down in Panzerleader and done all of Omaha. In Panzerleader, it took 25 hours. So as far as like getting the whole battle on the table in any kind of a historical sense, I mean, you're really going to paint 160,000 figures for Gettysburg? I mean, if you do, great. Please invite me to your table. I'd love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's where it gets a little weird as far as now. Then again, there's skirmish level games where you're not trying to put 160,000 guys on the table.
Right.
So as far as like what scale, like millimeters, is best. Well, it depends on two things. Number one, like what you're interested in, and like what your version of hobby is, and number two, like what your command level is. Like the command level 1 is, or like level 1 gaming is I call it skirmish tactical, or just some people just call it tactical. A lot of what people think is a tactical game is just, I call it skirmish. It's like level 1. But another level of tactical is level 2. It's either scale tactical, command tactical. Some people call it grand tactical. And that's where the games you were talking about, Bill, where there's one figure, but it represents more than one person. Mm-hmm. The second you cross into that mechanic, the game is totally different, because there's no more rule to hit. There's, it's an application of volume of firepower against a target, or F firepower for T time at R range, and you come up with like this little data cube and whatever. It's not point and shoot like it is in a tactical and a skirmish tactical game.
Right.
Operational games, and finally strategic games, and some people split those into 2, so you end up with 5 levels of wargaming: strategic and grand strategic. Grand strategic is, okay, you're playing ahead of state, and your map is round, as in you're on a global scale. So you get like Flames of War, or Weltkrieg or something like that, and that's where you're playing like truly global. And as far as like, I don't like abstraction in my games. Number one, people need to stop saying the word abstraction like it's a bad word. Okay, number one. Number two, if you're playing like that high level, global level game, there's going to be a ton of abstraction, but no combat. That's where you get into diplomacy, management, resource management, things like that. If you're into like those Euro games or those block builder games, maybe a grand strategic game is more your style. There's not a lot of violence,
right?
Whereas in a level 1 game, you're like looking at the fuzzy target at the clear front side post.
Yep.
That game gets visceral, because that's what you're going for. So as far as like what scale is better, identify what you like in your wargaming, or what you like in your hobby. You like big 54 millimeter figures. I wouldn't want to do, Rise and Decline of the Third Reich in 58 millimeter. I mean, or 54 millimeter. You would literally need the world to play your game at. But identify what you like in your hobby. And then step 2 is identify what of those 4, possibly 5 command levels you like. And then that will probably give you your preferred millimeter scale or table scale.
Yeah, exactly. Just looking at the comments, Starline Wargaming, welcome. Chain of Command in 20 mil is a different game. 20 mil just hits the sweet spot for me. Jim, you do a lot in 20 mil.
Yeah, I completely agree. Most of the battles I do are larger battles, and that's why I'm mostly a 15 mil guy. But when I want to do something skirmish based, either force on force or American Revolution, something like that, I tend to go down to, or I should say go up. I go up to 20. Although enough people are giving me enough presents where I'm slowly getting sucked into 28 millimeter. It's going to take 50 years, but by the year 2050, I might actually be able to put up a 28 millimeter table.
Nice.
I mean, I like the 28 mil because that's a sweet spot for me to paint. So I like it from the hobby side, if you will.
Right.
But to Jim's point, and Starline Wargaming's point, if you go down to 20 mil from 28, it gives you more options with your actual gaming table, so you can put more in the same space, or you can have that conduct the same game in 20 mil in a smaller space than you would in 28 mil,
or the same space and just have more realistic range geometries. People have heard me say this 100 times. I tend to underclock a game. Like one of my favorite World War II, my favorite World War II miniatures game is Battle Group, primarily written for 20 mil. I play it at 15. I still want to see some people. I know some people out there do it. I want to see people play Team Yankee in 15 mil. In 10 mil or 6 mil. Because it's just going to look better. It's going to be a little bit more realistic.
Yep. So Dennis says 28 mil is standard, as I do a lot of bolt action. I mean, bolt action is written for 28 mil.
It's an infantry skirmish game. 28 mil is perfect for it.
Yep.
My only issue with bolt action is when people start putting like tank platoons on a table. I'm like, okay, a 6-foot bolt action table is like 80 feet. Tanks don't engage at 80 feet. I'm not sure who won World War II on your planet, but if you play bolt action as it's written, where it's mostly an infantry skirmish game, then it's totally perfect. Because the big thing about a lot of people, we're all veterans, but a lot of people who might not know is tank combat is a lot longer range than people think it is.
Oh yeah,
it's miles.
You can I was gonna say it's kilometers. Yeah.
The more moderate you go warfare.
there were a lot of hedgerows, and it was miles. They shoot right through those hedgerows. Trust me. Conversely, infantry combat is a lot closer than a lot of people think it is, especially after World War II. World War II starts off as a bolt-action war, and by 1942, it's a submachine gun war. Everyone's shooting pistol bullets at each other, so engagement ranges get down to like 50 feet. So that's where you run into a lot of problems in like mixed arms miniature games. This is a tank. It can shoot 24 inches. This is infantry. It can shoot 12 inches. No, that tank can shoot. That tank can shoot 90 feet. And your infantry can shoot 6 inches is what it should be, But that makes for a very difficult war game. Yeah. And that's why sometimes miniature gaming isn't the best option if technical realism and tactical realism and historical accuracy are your goals. But if not, then,
But then you get into, is this a simulation or is it a game? Going back to what you're talking about as far as being abstract. Turns out we're going to have to adjust some things to be able to get stuff on the table. I mean.
Yeah. And sometimes you want to take a tank and smash another tank.
And where that line of compromise is, not only is it change from gamer to gamer, it changes. Like, I'm probably a great example. It changes for me from day to day. If I want to just have like a mashup and I want a cool looking table, obviously I go to miniatures. Yeah. Then the next game I'm going to play is going to be Panzer Leader, where I want a 7-kilometer board. And I want it to be manageable, and I want to actually see the protractor grid reference geometries of how, combined arms warfare actually works. You can't do that on a 28 millimeter table. You can't do that on a 15 millimeter table. You can't do that on a 6 millimeter table. Yeah. War is, at least not once you get into the 20th century, not once you get to smokeless powder and the ranges go out to, 500 yards for a rifle and 20 miles for artillery. You're not going to put that on a miniature table. You need a big, and that's, again, it's up to you. It's up to every player. You click up to that second level. Now you're at command tactical. Like you got games like Waterloo or Gettysburg, where you get one map and you get a bunch of little counters or figures or whatever, and you play obviously the one figure is not one guy. One figure is a brigade. 3 figures is a division. 4 figures is a corps. Yeah, that's what you have to play at, but it's still tactical because it's one battlefield, one day. You have to move and engage. You have to look out for tactical terrain features, and that's what makes a tactical game tactical. Yeah. Operational game is a campaign where every roll of the dice is a battle, and that's where sometimes people get confused between, this is a hex and counter game, or one stand equals like 400 guys in a battalion, 3,000 guys in a brigade, 10,000 guys in a division. That's, it's still tactical. It's just a different kind of tactical than, you might be used to.
Yep. So
to Novus Templar's point, tankettes are usually armed by machine guns. So what I was saying about miles range, that goes out the window with tankettes. So I guess tankettes would be the exception.
Yeah. So the answer to the question or our topic is there is no right one. It depends on the situation. Depends on the game. Depends on what you want to do.
And Toughy Years got me inspired now because now I keep thinking about 54 millimeter Gladiator duking it out would be cool.
Yeah,
I got enough crap going on.
With the advent of 3D printing, there are Gladiator models out there, so everybody could pick their own. And we could print them at 54. I could print it at 54 millimeter.
Let's do a Spartacus.
Spartacus.
Each of us can pick a gladiator to bring for it. Come on.
Yeah,
I'm getting one of those gladiatrixes. You might have to blur out some of my figures.
I'm gonna be down at your place Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Arena Rex. Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, 100%. That's the type of thing I'm thinking of.
Arena Rex is a really good game. If you guys have not heard of it or tried it, it is literally gladiatorial combat. And historically / fantasy. All right, it's on 54 millimeter gladiatorial combat coming to you soon.
Let's get ready to rumble.
That sounds cool.
Yeah,
that could be cool. All right. The bigger scale, the more space you need. I have loads of 28 and they take up a lot. Yeah, it's true.
That is true.
And before, we're all talking about miniatures. We're all talking about whether or not I can paint eyes. How often do you paint the bayonets and shoulder straps? When it comes to scale, terrain.
Mhm.
Got to also build the terrain.
Yep.
A house in 15 mil, a house in 28 mil, the same thing. They are not. And that's where,
Yeah.
that's a huge factor. You got to work.
Little
You got to
kid
keep bear in
playhouse.
mind. A 54 millimeter French farmhouse is like,
Yep.
you know,
The doghouse. The doghouse.
but yeah, if you build it, more power to you. At your table, like I said, I've seen them done at Historicon, but those guys are hardcore. There was one that took place in Market Garden somewhere where they had like the really tall teddy bear fur. The teddy bear fur was like that high on their table. It looked like Vietnamese grass or whatever. And the whole, I think it was more of a diorama than a game, but it still looked cool. Yeah, the game was like 4 versus 4, 4 British pairs versus 4 Waffen SS. And there was one tank on the board, a Jagdpanzer, which is not a small vehicle. In 54 mil, it was like this, if you include the muzzle of the gun. And it had already been knocked out. It was more of a terrain feature. But that was basically the whole table. And the table was like 6x6 or 8x8. It was 54 mil is no joke. Again, not just the figures. Figures are one thing. I don't want to say everyone forgets about it, but a huge thing that you got to bear in mind when you're picking out your ideal scale is the terrain, because that son bitch is going to kick your ass if you're not careful or without forethought.
So there you go, guys. Gladiatorial combat. I'm going to start looking.
Well, yeah, like the gladiatorial combat. Gladiators at 54 mil sound great. An arena at 54 mil, you basically just built a swimming pool in your backyard,
Yeah.
And they've got room. There's nothing in their backyard. Just got that patio.
Just go out and buy a jacuzzi and just like plaster it over with some kind of stucco or something.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. Could you imagine? Hey, man, I like your hot tub. Oh, that's not what it is.
No. Grab that little fellow over there. Let's go.
He wants to take a little fellow and play with him in the jacuzzi. That sounds weird.
Sounds weird to you.
Whoa.
I'm just glad I have a partner, because normally I'm playing by myself.
Oh my God.
How you doing?
If you could buy an RC tank at 54, you'd literally drive. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's very true. There's some pretty impressive RC tanks out there these days. And airplanes.
That's kind of what I did when I was a kid with the little army guys. You set them up, because I did have one of those little.
Everybody had little green army men.
Yeah, and I had an RC tank that I got. I don't know. I was like
green versus tan. The rage continues.
Yeah, I just mow those dudes down.
We use BB guns.
Yeah.
Shoot at each other's armies.
Yep.
Oh yeah, BB guns, pellet guns, stuff like that.
Yep.
Little rubber bands.
Inside, we would use rubber bands.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. So to sum up our topic, there's no right or wrong to scale. It's what's best for you in your game.
Yeah, sit down with your crew, talk about it, and just think about it in advance. Like, what do you really like about the hobby? Are you more of a painting guy? Are you more of a historical realism guy, tactical realism guy, whatever? Figure that out with your crew, and then from there, then pick one of those 4 levels. Well, really like 2, because we're not really talking about operational gaming or anything.
Tim, there you go.
Box of paint. No, I told you what I already told you what my figure's going to look like. I already told you what my figure's going to look like, and it ain't going to look like me. Spoiler alert.
That's hilarious. All right, guys. We're going to transition to the news. Stand by.
Standing by. Red leader, standing by.
Oh, hit the second button down. That one. Hit it.
Listen up, people. It is time for the news with Marty. What in the wide of world wargaming is going on? Let's in on the scuttlebutt. Bring on the awesomeness that is wargaming.
Yeah, let's do this, brother. All right. How you doing?
Yeah.
Whew, it's been a while. It's
Yes,
been a
sir.
while. Like March. It's been a while. I don't know if it's actually been since March, but it's
It's been for Adepticon.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was right. All right. So first news item up, if you're not aware, and I don't think you guys talked about it. Oddly enough, I do actually listen to and watch our podcast. I don't think you guys addressed this one directly. Port Royal campaign game coming from Firelock Games. We've talked about Blood and Plunder a bunch of times. Bill and I both have the giant 2-army starter set.
Mhm.
Adepticon was giving them away for $99 a piece. So buy two. It was an amazing deal. But that's a little larger scale game. Speaking of which, but Port Royal campaign based. It's tactical, small scale. So warband, skirmish size. That they say is easy and fast to learn to play. Now they, the name Port Royal comes from them loosely basing it on the 1692 earthquake that devastated Jamaica. So in Port Royal, the players have to take controls of small companies of pirates, privateers, natives, maroons, local government forces, whatever, and then they're all fighting it out for all of the plunder that's all over the place.
Yep.
Now, while they're doing that, you gain more loot. That's what pirates do. Want their loot and booty. That's right. I knew I'd work booty in there.
Yeah.
But it also increases their experience and their fame. All of that kind of levels up your guys, if you will.
Mhm.
But as it turns out, you lose stuff. Buildings can fall on you. There's wild animals. There's all sorts of stuff that can go on.
Right.
This is currently in Kickstarter. There's 5 days as of today, June 29th. There's 5 days remaining on the Kickstarter if you're interested. If you want a digital only copy, like say you're like me and Bill, we already have forces. So maybe we don't want to buy the whole thing. We just want the digital stuff, and we can do that on the cheap. You can get that $39, and we use what we already have. You don't have it, so you want the basic set. $64 for the basic pledge level. You get a rule book, you get some tokens and rulers, and punchboard terrain. Notice it didn't say it came with any miniatures, so you need to already have some miniatures there. Otherwise, you're not really playing anything. Moving up, if you don't have miniatures, core box, $79. You get rule book tokens. You get 15 miniatures. You get some plastic accessories, kind of some scattered terrain type stuff, punchboard terrain set, a game mat, and then 6 D10s because it's a D10 based system.
Right.
So if you are Bill, we'll talk about these next two levels because this is where he obviously operates. All in is $160. You get a core box. You get the core box tier that we just talked about, plus a player aid deck, plus a customized character sprue, and a 2x2 neoprene mat. Or you can go for the full-on legendary tier at $250. It's the ultimate tier. Plus, you get one of each unit box. I can't tell you how many unit boxes that is because there's a bunch. I mean, there's a boatload of them. So I'm not sure how many there are, but there's a lot. That's a lot of characters. But like I said, Bill and I already have the 2-player starter set. Plus, I have other stuff. So I don't need all the miniatures. So I would not go there myself. But if you are so moved because you're like, I think this is just going to be my jam, well, then there you go. You can get the full thing. Just go to Kickstarter, look up Firelock Games Port Royal. Estimated date of delivery is this December. So if we all know how Kickstarter goes, if they deliver on time, could be right in time for Christmas.
Well, they have a pretty good record on their Kickstarters, don't they?
They do. I mean, but we all know, we all know that there could be some sort of delay, and not necessarily anything of their fault.
Yeah.
Things happen. That's why I say, if they make their estimated delivery date, that's when it would be. But maybe you don't want to give that as a Christmas gift if that's the only thing you're giving that person, because then it's like, here's a copy of the email. It'll be delivered soon.
Yeah.
I'm getting flashbacks to 1977 when they didn't have enough Star Wars figures.
Yeah.
Parents were giving each other those little cardboards. Here, I promise you, I promise you'll get this eventually. All right, guys. I got to get going for now. It's been great to get like most of the team together again.
Yeah, good seeing you, bud.
Yeah,
Good seeing you,
Alright.
Jim.
enjoy your
Enjoy
time.
your time with your dad.
Take care, everybody. Talk
All
soon.
right, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
All right.
Moving on. Next up, just a quick hit from Age of Sigmar. As you know, the 4th edition is coming out. So as of today, you can pre-order the new Skaventide box set. That is a 2-player starter set. It comes with 2 armies. It's got Skaven and Stormcast. Oddly enough, I have both armies. Who knew? I already have my pre-order in because I pre-ordered it because I know a guy. So I am splitting the box. I'm gonna get the rat half of the box, and somebody else is gonna take the
That's actually
Stormcast Eternals.
such a smart way to do it, right? Save everybody a little bit of money there.
The box is kind of pricey. It's like $210, I think, which isn't horrible for a 2-person full-on army set. You get the core rules, all the I mean, you get a bunch of. They even throw in a couple little pieces of terrain for you. I will be honest, that's like throwaway stuff because it is so. Yeah, you're certainly not setting up a table with the like 4 little pieces of terrain they give you. It's like little corner walls, a little stone wall type of thing. But hey, it's Games Workshop. They're giving you a game in the terrain in the game box, so I'll take it. But the box has 74 miniatures in there between the Stormcast and the Skaven models. You get the core rule book and whatnot. So if that is something that you are into, get after it. Get your pre-orders in now because these will go fast.
Interesting.
For sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Moving on. Another 2-player starter set. Mantic Games has redone their Firefight Edge of Sanity 2-player Edge of Sanity 2-player set. $140. It's recently released, as I said. Yeah, you get over 70 models. You get rules and force list, a quick start guide, dice, tokens. It's a great way of introducing players to the Warpath universe, as they say, and the immersive, tactical, and action-packed tabletop game of Firefight. So you can pit all these different dudes against each other. There's a whole laundry list of guys that I don't know who they are because I don't play the game, but you get 20 of these and 4 of those. Instead of you get drones and stuff. I mean, there's all sorts of good stuff. What I will tell you, though, is apparently either it's popular or they lowballed the amount of sets that they did on their initial run because it's currently on back order through Mantic on their webpage, which is not a bad problem for Mantic to have.
For sure.
However, if like Marty decides, hey, this sounds cool, I want it, I can't get it through the webpage. But that doesn't mean that your friendly local game store doesn't necessarily have a copy sitting on the shelf somewhere.
Right.
So definitely, if this is something that interests you, go hit up your local game shop and see what you can do there. You might be able to get it. And, worst comes to worst, either through your local game shop or through the Mantic webpage. You can back order it. I just don't know. They don't have anything stating when that delivery time is going to be.
You'll probably see some at Gen Con too if you're around and about when they're there.
Yeah, hopefully, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Rusted Beetle said, I love Dead Zone and may pick up some Firefight for starter to grab minis. Dead Zone's a great game.
Oh.
And if you are a fan of Dead Zone, what's another game that's coming out that
Halo. Yeah. Can't wait.
We pre-ordered Halo. We're just waiting on that.
Yeah. All right.
Next, sir.
Next up, Spectre Miniatures. They got a bunch of new models. They've remastered some of their old ones. Particularly for those of you that like to play cops and robbers kind of deal, they have Agents QRF, Criminal Heavies. So you've got a set of good guys and a set of bad guys that are really more kind of law enforcement related than Army guys. They've got their Aftermath kill team, of course. That's one that you could probably go either way with. You could use them as army dudes or special government forces, or you can use them like a kind of a hazmat MWD law enforcement team as well. All of them have been remastered, and they're now resin. Those are all resin miniatures now. Additionally, they have separate heads, so you can do head swaps super easy with them now. They have also brought back the BMP-1. They've redesigned some stuff. It's got a better turret. You can also the turret's separate, so you can add it to your pickup trucks. Yeah, how you like that? That's the technical of a lifetime. They also have a brand new BMP-2. So they get your troops get a slightly more modern ride, as they say, to battle, and their first ever tank. They're rolled out a T-55. They say, although outdated, I don't know if I'd say outdated. I would say old AF. But as they say, it's a common sight on battlefields around the world still. So I think that's a pretty good choice for them to start with. And then, of course, they've always got, bundles and whatnot going on. So bunch of stuff from our friends over there at Spectre.
Very cool.
Moving on, a quick hit. You guys talked about Steamforged acquiring Warmachine last show. I just wanted to give a little update to that. Now that they've transitioned Warmachine, the entire Warmachine line to the Steamforged store, you can see all the stuff that they've got. Most of that stuff is available for pre-order right now, and will ship in the middle of July. Looks like July 18th is going to be the ship date on it. So, for those of you that are like, hey, what's going to happen? Is this, is this really a thing? That they've leaned into it hard, and they've got, looks like everything is up on the store, available for pre-order. So by all means, if that's your jam, get after it. There's a ton of stuff available there.
Very cool.
And then my final couple comments I already alluded to, but CMON Comic Volume 2 is arriving in the U.S. If you ordered one, you should be getting that shortly. I know that'll excite most people, considering they were supposed to be here last October. Not that I'm mad or anything, but I've been seeing people posting in the U.S. that they've been arriving, so yay for us. And then also, as we all know, the Battle Space box sets are shipping. Not that mine's arrived yet, but but
they're like,
they are shipping.
Not Marty's. Hold on to that one, but send everybody else out.
Is that guy that send us 5 nasty grams? It is.
So let me tell you something funny. I got mine from the UK because for whatever reason, it wasn't paying attention. I actually ordered mine off the Mantic. So I paid, my shipping was more than the game was.
I was gonna say, how much did that cost to ship? I mean, that's got to be like $50.
And let's be honest, it should not have cost as much as it did to ship, to be honest. But it is what it is. Yeah. But that may be why I got mine before other people have gotten theirs, because I actually had mine shipped from the UK versus the US warehouse.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
either that, or they just love you and screw this guy. I don't know.
We do know the owners of
true.
Modifus,
That's
you know.
Yeah, and all they know is I sent them 5 nasty grams, asking for updates and
move him to the bottom of the list.
What's going on? They're like, MD. Oh, this. No. And where's those cards that printed sideways? Yeah, throw those in this box. Yeah, where's the rule book where we ran out of ink and it's only got 2 colors instead of 12 like it's supposed to? Yeah, throw that in there too. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing what I get.
Oh my goodness, too funny.
You forgot something.
That is wholeheartedly possible. I know we were talking about how long we wanted the show to go and whatnot. So
yeah,
I did just a quick hit. I didn't want to get crazy with it because I didn't know how much time we were going to have.
Yep. So Warcrow from Corvus Belli is up now for pre-order, I believe. And I downloaded the rules, and I was gonna like try and test play it, but you can't. You have to have certain dice and things that they have unique dice for the game. That's so.
Yeah.
Frustrates me to some aspect that you have to have special dice, instead of. But hey, but it is up for pre-order, I believe.
Those
And
are pretty sweet looking miniatures too, by the way.
they are. I like them. I like them a lot. So,
And we said these are not metal, correct? Or are they metal?
no, they're not metal. They're resin. I believe.
Are they resin or plastic?
Resin or plastic? One of the two. I can't remember exactly, but no, I think they look really good.
Oh, I do have one other thing that personal news item for you, which could fall in here, fall in my hobby stuff. When we were at Adepticon, we were set up next to Sherwood Gaming. Love those guys. Fantastic folks. We've been with them for a couple years now. And shout out to them. They definitely gave me the friends and family deal on some Saga miniatures.
Yeah.
However, nobody had the Saga books. So turns out Gripping Beast has them back in stock. So
hey, there you go.
Yesterday I ordered the core rule book and the Viking book.
Nice. Saga's a great game. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I think we already have all the terrain we need to play it.
You should.
I mean,
yeah.
So I should probably start painting my Vikings at some point.
Yeah, I mean, anything you don't have terrain wise, Wimmer has that really fancy.
Chris says he's got the books. Yay!
Okay. So,
me too.
He'll be able to print you up some fancy terrain in his fancy 3D printer.
Yeah, well, he's already got a bunch of like houses and buildings and stuff.
Nice.
So that's why I say I think we already have everything we need to play with.
You don't need that much terrain, so
Right.
you just need a few pieces here and there. Because when I played Lloyd and who did I play against? Michael, when we were in Ireland, Michael McDonald. So we had a few houses and some scatter terrain, and it was a great game.
It's all about the fight, with everybody running up on
use
each
your
other.
dice, and you have that card. It tells you what you can do, and
because that was the guys that I talked to at Adepticon when I leaned in to take a picture, and there was just a ball of guys and Vikings mixing it up in the middle, and he's like, this all started over Grandma's prize cornbread recipe,
As will happen.
Yeah. Very cool. Just a couple of housekeeping things. Tuffy Ears and Dennis, your t-shirts, mugs will be going out hopefully this week. We've gotten our machines, I think, to the point where we're fine-tuned and we're comfortable with printing for other people now. We've had the machines for a few weeks, and we've had to make adjustments. Printing is
There's
not
a learning curve.
It is a huge learning curve. It's not like a printer on your office where you hit print and it comes out and it looks just like the screen. When you're printing on materials, colored shirts, black shirts, whatever, you have to really look at how you're basing and white base and color knockouts, and there's all halftones and all this other stuff that I've been having to learn over the last few weeks. So we have not forgotten about you. We just want to send you out the right stuff. We want it to look good and professional. So just please have a little patience with us as we get that taken care of. But we have not forgotten about you on that. So yeah. Historicon, guys,
not happening this year. I mean, it's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening, but we're not.
Yeah.
I reached out to him again, and I will do a real-time update. I reached out to him week before. Was it last week? I think it was last week. And said, hey, we have not heard from you guys.
It was 2 weeks ago because it was at the last show.
And no, maybe it was. And said, any updates? We're getting close. And crickets. Oh, wait.
Oh.
Breaking news. Oh, geez.
Shit.
All right, so maybe we're going to Historicon. When is it?
To all, we have a place for the SITREP podcast for Historicon right out in the
Yes!
hallway in front of the vendor tournament area next to the D-Day display.
Ah!
Or any specific requests that it might have, so we place them where they would get good foot traffic. I will need to know size of space, what tables, chairs they will need, as well as names of the folks for media badges. I think the location should be good, but if they want a quiet location away from noise, most folks do. We can accommodate as well. Ha!
Wowzers! You heard
We
it
got
here.
prime
You
location.
heard it here first, kids.
Shit, when is Historicon? It's your week.
Well,
If it is, you're going to Florida and I'm going to Philadelphia.
not sure how that's going to work with the dogs.
Well,
but
we'll have to
okay.
figure it out.
Will you each take one?
Of course it is. Okay, well, have fun.
So we'll move that meeting offline. Discuss amongst ourselves.
That's okay. That's really your guys' jam anyway. So.
Yeah, but you're the face. You're the talking head.
I just talk to people.
You're the talking head. When is your? Oh, we'll talk about it offline.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
as of right now, we just got response. I guess we're going to Historicon. Are you going to Historicon, Marty? Because you have the booth.
I don't even know when the date is. Again, we'll talk offline.
The 21st.
Yeah.
What is it?
We'll have a meeting after the meeting.
Yeah.
17th through 21
Of
July.
Hi, baby.
where's my phone?
Hey guys, this is how SITREP podcast works.
Are you? Yeah. Now you're seeing how the sausage gets made.
We get our marching order. We get our warning order. Mob order.
Why did I think it was later than that? All right.
Because you were probably thinking of Gen Con or NashCon.
That might have been it. All right. So, what days again?
The 17th through the 21st.
Oh, we. Yeah, about that. I got some work shit scheduled. The 15th through the 20th. Like I'm working that Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about this offline.
All right.
Meeting after the meeting.
Okay. Well, on that disappointing note, we're gonna say adios. Hasta.
We'll just tell them to change the dates. That's not convenient for me.
Right? I mean, that should be fine. Yeah.
This doesn't work for us. We're really gonna need you to push it back a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish they had given us more heads up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us today on the podcast. It was a great show. I think our topic was good.
Yeah.
We had some good stuff all around. You know, we're broadening the horizons. We still talk about historical stuff, but we want to include everybody in our conversation. So if you're more on the sci-fi grim dark, world, that's cool. If you're in the fantasy world, that's cool. Whatever your tastes are in tabletop gaming,
And
we're here to help. And
tough years. Thanks for the inspiration. I'm gonna start looking up
Yeah.
gladiator
54
models to print out
gladiators.
mill.
gee, if we only had a few more months, we could have brought it to Historicon.
Yeah. Wah, wah. Yeah.
Anyway,
All
yeah. So we have to do some serious soul searching to see if this can be a reality this year. It may not at this late juncture, to be honest with you, but we'll talk about it. We'll keep you up to date, and we will see you in the next one. That would be good. Yes. Take care. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the SITREP Podcast. We hope you have enjoyed the show. Make sure you like and subscribe to all of our channels on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Discord. Remember to join us every other weekend for a new episode of the podcast, and don't forget our other programming on Wednesdays and